Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome back to my podcast if you're listening to this episode in the audio version only. My name is Rux, I'm a Western tropical astrologer, and today we are going to be talking about two things, two major astrological events. Jupiter going back into Aries all the way until the middle of May 2023, and of course, the new moon in Capricorn coming up on the 23rd of December. Now, these two events are linked. Why? Because the new moon is going to activate Jupiter by squaring it on the 23rd of December. The transits of slow-moving planets, such as Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, etc., they generally need some sort of push, a nudge, let's say, from the faster moving planets, such as the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, in order for us to connect with their energy more, and in order for us to notice them, I would say. So this particular new moon will very strongly activate the themes of Jupiter in Aries for all of us. Especially for those who have personal planets and angles at 1 to 2 degrees of cardinal signs. The cardinal signs are Capricorn, Cancer, and Aries, Libra. But before we start talking astrology, folks, let me take a step back and share the following with you. If you want to work with me, if you want to book a personal consultation, if you want to book a personal reading for the year ahead, or if you would like me to interpret your natal chart, if you would like us to discuss from an astrological perspective about your relationship sector, about your career, your vocation, your mission and purpose in this lifetime, you can find me on my website, which is writteninthestars-astrology.com. That is writteninthestars-astrology.com. You can go to the services section, and in the services section, you will find the various types of services that you can go for. If you are a new client, you can go straight to the 1-hour live Zoom consultation option. If you are an existing client, there are a few different services available for you, such as the year ahead forecast and also the 30 minutes follow-up consultation. This one is perfect if you have a few questions or one particular area of interest that you would like us to dive deeper into after we have already got together for the first time and discussed your natal chart and maybe discussed about the major themes that you're dealing with in this lifetime. Also, if you are a student of astrology, and lately I've seen that so many people are learning astrology, and I think that is, well, I believe that is so telling because Pluto is moving into Aquarius next year, and for the next roughly 2 decades, we are going to really feel an increased interest, and we're really going to feel, I dare say, at a collective level, incredibly focused on Aquarian topics. Technology and science are two Aquarius topics, you could say, but astrology is also a very, very Aquarian topic. Why? Because it looks at the laws that govern the universe, that help us better understand humanity, and so on. So if you're a student of astrology, you can also now purchase from my website in the services section the recording of the natal chart interpretation masterclass workshop that I ran in the autumn of 2022. You will find there over 6 hours of material that will help you refine your natal chart interpretation practice. This is not a course for those who are complete beginners. It is a course that is suitable for those who already have a foundational understanding of astrology, such as they understand the signs, the planets, the houses, and they want to learn how to piece it all together and how to build coherent and cohesive analyses of natal charts. writteninthestars-astrology.com. Now let's go back to Jupiter in Aries and the new moon in Capricorn, happening on the 23rd of December. Jupiter is going to slide back into Aries on the 20th of December, all all the way until May, until the middle of May of 2023. Jupiter has already spent some time in Aries this year between the 10th of May until the 28th of October. So folks, you're probably going to see a continuation of the Jupiter in Aries themes that you have dealt with at the beginning of the year. From the 10th of May until the 28th of October, you are going to probably see these pop up back into your life from the 20th of December all the way until the middle of May of next year. The last time when Jupiter was in Aries was between the 7th of June 2010 until the 8th of September 2010, and from the 23rd of January 2011 until the 4th of June 2011. So if you've been around for long enough, you could also look back at what was going on in your life 12 years ago when Jupiter was transiting Aries between June 2010 and June 2011. Ask yourself, how did I grow at the time? What new opportunities did I take on? How did I push myself in a new, bold, courageous direction? Because you're probably going to have the opportunity to grow in a similar manner. And when I say similar, I mean from an archetypal perspective. You're going to have the opportunity to grow in a similar manner with Jupiter now sliding back into Aries all the way until the middle of May of 2023. Jupiter is the Great Benefic in astrology, folks. Jupiter is the planet of opportunity, of expansion. Jupiter is also connected with faith, with beliefs, with the principle of connection with a higher power, a higher force. My apologies. And Jupiter also brings meaning to things. Jupiter is also the planet of exploration and of adventure. Now, I think it's beautiful that the concept of exploration and adventure is so strongly linked with opportunity. Because if we don't take a leap of faith in the direction of new adventures, new opportunities, how can we ever grow? And how can we ever be open to the opportunities that await us if we stay put, if we stay in the same place, if nothing changes? Now, at a collective level, I dare say that we are likely to see an increase with Jupiter in Aries, an increase in the amount of courage that the world is showing. People are likely to fight for their beliefs, and they're probably going to fight with more fire and passion than they have fought in a really long time. We've seen, like I said, a glimpse of Jupiter in Aries, but it went retrograde. Now, it may have felt like a little bit like dimmed down over the summer, the energy of Jupiter in Aries. Now Jupiter is moving kind of like full speed ahead until May of next year. And people are likely to show courage. People are likely to fight for their beliefs. People are likely to say, you know what, no more. We are likely to see an increase in the amount of confidence that people have when it comes to asserting themselves. So Jupiter, opportunity, expansion, adventure, generosity, wisdom. Jupiter in Aries is likely to bring a lot of courage, a lot of confidence, a lot of risk-taking. I mean, sometimes risk-taking leads to danger. But if you don't take risks, how can you win? And Jupiter in Aries wants to win. So we are likely to see an increase in the energy of competition, not just fighting. It may feel like the good fight, the righteous fight that people are fighting. And we are all in some shape or form maybe likely to fight the good fight in a specific sector of our life. And we may feel like, okay, no more. I'm gonna go out there and show courage and be bold and take risks and assert myself. And yes, there might be pushback. Yes, there might be external forces or people that say, no, this is too much, or you're being impulsive or you're being rash. The only challenge with Jupiter is that sometimes it can overdo things. So it can be a little bit excessive. It's going to be up to you to weigh things properly and say, okay, am I being impulsive on good grounds? Am I kind of like pushing for a new beginning in a manner that is safe? I don't know. Jupiter in Aries sometimes might feel a little bit unsafe, but Jupiter in Aries definitely gives us the courage to face enemies, to face adversity, to face oppressors with stamina, with passion, with motivation, with fire, I dare say. Jupiter in Aries can also sometimes be excessively individualistic. So every man for themselves. I mean, obviously, it's just a phrase. Every person for themselves. The interesting thing is that Jupiter is going to be doing Mars's bidding, right? Because Aries is ruled by the planet Mars. And until the 12th of January, Mars is going to be retrograde in Gemini. So Jupiter entering Aries until the 12th of January, so from the 20th of December until the 12th of January, Jupiter re-entering Aries is likely to make us want to fight old fights, and especially fights that utilize words, that utilize communication. I would also be very careful with Jupiter in Aries and Mars retrograde in Gemini on the road when it comes to cars, short distance travel. There could be excessive, let's say, speed, or just kind of like being in a rush and not calculating, I don't know, like distances properly, not calculating how long it would take us to, I don't know, overtake someone on the motorway, and things can get dangerous quite quickly. So I would exercise a little bit of caution, especially on the road. Overall, until the 12th of January, as I said, we may feel like we've got kind of like an increased amount of courage to fight old fights, using our words, using facts, using, I want to say, mental and intellectual weapons. The only challenge could be that we don't have all the facts. Mars in Gemini retrograde might make us feel like, yeah, I gotta push for this and I gotta fight for this and this is not right. And we might be quick to like say words that are aggressive, but we may not have everything in terms of facts to be able to look at the full picture. So careful not to get angry and annoyed and fight with words of fire before you have assessed the entire situation. Now, I do think that we might receive a little bit of help in this direction because Mercury is going to be in Capricorn. So Mercury in Capricorn kind of like speaks very practically, very pragmatically. Mercury is also going to go retrograde, which is so interesting. So we're going to have this Jupiter in Aries that wants to move forward. It's like go, 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 go. New expansion, new opportunity, new beginning. And then we've got Mars retrograde in Gemini. It's like we don't know everything and we could feel a little bit annoyed and frustrated because the direction isn't very clear as to what the next steps are. We've also got Mercury in Capricorn retrograde from the 29th of December until the 18th, 19th of January, depending on where you live in the world. Mercury is saying not so fast. Have you looked at the books? Have you studied the numbers? Have you really considered your plan of action? So let's put it this way. I am excited for people to initiate new things with Jupiter in Aries. I am excited for growth and expansion and opportunity to be grabbed with boldness. But with the retrogrades happening at the same time of Mars and Mercury, I'd say that at least until the 19th, 20th of January, it might be wiser to really calm ourselves a little bit down. Now, sometimes we realize, okay, I should have acted on something a while back. And with the retrogrades being very active end of December until pretty much the last week of January, we might realize, okay, I should have acted upon this a while back. Let me act now. That is a good way to make use of the retrograde energy. So to do something that you were supposed to do a while back, but it was postponed. I hope this helps. Now, let's talk about the new moon in Capricorn. So it's happening on the 23rd of December. It's going to be active 3 days before, 3 days after. 1 degree, 32 minutes of Capricorn at 10:16 in the morning GMT time. So you can adjust for your own time zone. Probably the most significant aspect that this new moon is making is the square to Jupiter. So a new moon in Capricorn generally indicates a new beginning. Yes, it's a new moon, so seeds are being planted into the ground. Sometimes new moons are a moment of, how should we say, of darkness. It's like nothing is born yet. It is a moment of birth, but nothing is there yet, you could say. So sometimes it may feel like there's not that much happening, or we don't necessarily pay that much attention to events around us because they're not very kind of like loud or in our face or very kind of like clear as to how they will blossom, you could say. The new moon in Capricorn wants us to initiate something new. It wants us to step out of our comfort zone. It wants us to create probably a new structure of some sort in our life, a structure that we realize is getting us out of our comfort zone. We realize it involves a certain degree of risk. We realize it involves a certain kind of like leap of faith. We realize that in order to maintain and to build this structure over time, that we are kind of like at the beginning of its creation, we realize that we need maybe more courage than we feel comfortable in accessing and exercising. We might also realize that this new beginning, from a structural perspective, when I say structure, I'm thinking of the major structures of our life. I'm thinking, I don't know, of like significant routines, jobs, family life. These are the pillars of life, right? Career, relationships, family life. These generally involve specific structures. We could also build a new structure health-wise, for instance. So we could start like a new health regimen and so on. We may need to take into account, as we are starting to build this new structure, we may need to take into account the fact that some people who believe very strongly in something else than we believe in are likely to also challenge us and are likely to shake the structure that we're building to its core. So this is where we need to like really ask ourselves, is this solid, sustainable, and am I basing this off of facts? Because I know that ideologically, I will be challenged. People are going to say, no, that's wrong. Why are you doing this? That is utter nonsense. So prepare yourself, folks, to be challenged or to meet some sort of resistance in terms of the outside world when it comes to this new beginning that you are stepping into at the time of the new moon. Saturn is going to be, so Saturn is the dispositor of the new moon. Saturn is in Aquarius, right? Saturn in Aquarius is saying, think impartially about what you're building. Also think about the collective and about your place in society as you start building something new. Think about your tribe. Think about who you're working in collaboration with. And also, even though as you're starting off something new around this new moon, especially those who have planets around 1 to 2 degrees of cardinal signs. And even though you might want to be completely self-sufficient and do it all quickly and fast and on your own, Saturn being in Aquarius makes me think that this is probably going to be a team effort and you're going to need people on your side, even though both Aries and Capricorn are two very self-sufficient signs. They're like me. It's like, I'm going to be in charge. I'm going to do it. Get out of my way. I have no time. I am impatient. That Jupiter can be very impatient, but I would take a bit of a step back and ask myself, Who do I need on my side in order to build this thing moving forward? That is a question for you to answer. Also, please, folks, remember, let's see. Please, folks, remember that astrology does not predict exact material manifestation. So astrology is only archetypally predictive. I am going to share, as we go through the 12 zodiac signs, various scenarios as to how things are likely to play out for you at the time of this new moon, and also as Jupiter is stepping back into Aries. But remember that astrology is not clairvoyance. Take the archetypal, symbolic, energetic prediction, right? Or forecast, not prediction, because the word prediction, I don't think it's good. It implies that something for sure will happen, but we have free will. We are co-creators of our reality. For our life to unfold, we play an active role. So our reactions, our input, how we manage a situation, that is going to play a massive, massive role in the outcome of whatever it is that is unfolding at a certain moment in time in our life. So just putting it out there. Now, folks, please remember, if you know your rising sign, to listen to the update for your rising sign. If you don't know your rising sign, then you can listen to the update for your sun sign. But I would strongly recommend, in order to get the most out of these general forecasts, out of these general horoscopes, I would strongly recommend that you figure out what your time of birth is, and you can go online on astro.com or on AstroSeek and generate your natal chart and see what your rising sign is. Like I said, this is the way to make the most out of these general forecasts and horoscopes. So, Aries suns and Aries risings. Let's talk about Jupiter in Aries and the new moon in Capricorn. So, Jupiter is moving back into your first house on the 20th of December all the way until the middle of May of next year. So you have the opportunity to grow on a personal level, to take some sort of personal risk in the direction of expanding your horizons when it comes to academia, when it comes to higher education, when it comes to maybe traveling. So you will most likely have the opportunity to travel, have the opportunity to maybe even like study abroad, or travel to kind of like broaden your worldviews with Jupiter in your first house all the way until the middle of May of next year. You may also feel like you are growing a lot on a personal level throughout this period, because you're learning about your blind spots. And this is a fantastic opportunity also to develop yourselves, Aries, from a spiritual perspective. So if you have felt, a certain affinity, a certain pull towards a specific religious, philosophical, spiritual tradition, Jupiter in Aries is really going to probably give you that nudge to jump and to say, okay, I want to read more about this. I want to study this. I want to take a course. I want to take a class. I want to start meditating. I want to understand, how people who follow this tradition look at the world, and how that maybe opens up new horizons for me as well. Now, the new moon is happening on the 23rd of December, 3 days before, 3 days after, in your 10th house of career, public status, and public reputation, Aries. And it is squaring Jupiter in your first house of identity. It feels like you're stepping into a new chapter professionally, Aries. Now, the only thing is, after this new moon takes place, Mercury is going to go retrograde at the end of the month, and it may feel like the new beginning professionally for you, Aries, which could be a new role, a new position. You could be interviewing. I want to say maybe for a job in a different industry. It could feel like the new beginning is being a little bit delayed with Mercury retrograde at the end of the month until the 18th, 19th of January. It is a good time to set new goals for yourselves, Aries. It's also a good time to ask yourselves, okay, is my current career path aligned with my evolving sense of self? Or do I feel like I have outgrown it? And I do believe that some Aries, especially Aries risings, may feel like the current climate that they're in, the current setup, the current set of circumstances that they're in professionally. I do believe that some Aries risings in particular may feel like they no longer resonate, because they no longer resonate with that climate, with that industry, with that company, because they realize that they can be more than who they have been up until this point. Their beliefs are growing and changing and evolving. Their perspective about themselves is growing and changing and evolving. I want to say this. It could be a good time, Aries, to ask yourselves where to next professionally, and to ask yourselves also, have I been underestimating myself, and have I been seeing myself through this kind of like narrow window? Could I be more? The answer is probably yes. You may also start a new job or enter a new professional chapter that requires you to travel quite a lot, Aries, I dare say. Now, if you're a Taurus sun or a Taurus rising, Jupiter is going back into Aries from the 20th of December all the way until the middle of May of next year. It's almost like you are called to continue, Taurians, to grow, to expand, and to learn more, and to maybe explore more when it comes to your shadow side, when it comes to your subconscious, when it comes to your mental health, to explore maybe new practices, to explore a different approach, to read, to learn more, to look deep inside yourselves, and to see how maybe you have been sabotaging yourselves without necessarily intending to, obviously, Taurians. This is something that you may have already learned quite a bit from the 10th of May until the end of October. You might have already I want to say, taken a courageous leap of faith in the direction of exploring your subconscious. It is a great time with Jupiter transiting your 12th house to explore practices such as, for instance, hypnosis, or maybe even past life regression, to really kind of like see what has been holding you back and what are you really afraid of. You may dream a lot. You may have kind of like very vivid dreams with Jupiter transiting your 12th house. It is also a time, because Jupiter is the ruler of your 8th house and of your 11th house. It could be a time, Taurians, until the middle of May, to explore what dreams, goals, objectives, and groups of people and friends maybe even you have outgrown. And even though it's hard, I strongly recommend being honest with yourselves, Taurians, and asking yourselves, okay, is it maybe time for me to move away from these groups, or to move away from these old goals, because I know they are no longer what my future will look like. The new moon in Capricorn on the 23rd of December, 3 days before, 3 days after, is happening in your 9th house. Now, what is going on? What is going on here? I do believe that you may start some sort of new chapter in terms of your spiritual path, my dear Taurians. What does that mean? You may feel called to bring some sort of system and structure, a new system and structure into how you connect with the divine, how you connect with the universe, maybe how you connect, I don't know, with God, if you want to call the source God. There's so many names for it. You may start learning and studying something new around this time, something that really opens you up to your fears, I want to say, and to, again, what has been holding you back from the shadows, I dare say, Taurians. This could also be a new beginning in terms of your connection with foreign lands and foreign countries. So maybe this is a time when you start traveling to a different, let's say, a different office for work. This could be a time when you may feel like you need to learn about a different culture, because you're going to work with people from a different culture. And you could be a little bit afraid. You could be a little bit tense and fearful because you don't know exactly what to expect. There could be some initial interactions maybe with people from this culture that make you feel, I want to say, maybe even a little bit threatened. I'll just put it out there. Not because they are attacking or threatening you, but because you are in unknown and are uncharted territories, Taurus. But unknown and uncharted territories are the places where growth happens. So keep that in mind. Geminis, Gemini suns and Gemini risings. Okay, so Jupiter, my lovely Geminis, is moving back into your 11th house from the 20th of December until the middle of May of next year. I do strongly believe that throughout this period, your circle of friends will grow. You're going to meet new people. You are going to connect with new friends. You're going to probably feel inspired to be more active within groups of people, to be more active within a community, within a tribe. You may also team up with various groups of people and maybe work on things together when it comes to your professional life. You may join throughout this period, and I dare say that this could have some very positive effects upon your career path. You may join all the way until the middle of May of next year new communities that are aligned with your new career goals. You may feel kind of like ready and confident to really take some courageous steps in the direction of your plans for the future. It is a time to dream big with Jupiter transiting your 11th house, and to indeed challenge yourselves, to not be afraid when it comes to committing to a larger than life goal, I dare say. The only thing is Mars is retrograde until the 12th of January. So you might not have kind of like a clear idea as to what the next steps are in terms of making this new big goal, big dream a reality. Also, there could be some friction and some misunderstandings with the new people that you meet throughout this period. That doesn't mean that they won't be instrumental in your career success moving forward. Challenge yourselves to get out of your comfort zone when it comes to the people that you interact with, the communities that you connect with, and also the goals that you set for yourselves, Geminis. Because Jupiter is helping you. Jupiter, after all, is the Great Benefic, even though right now Mars, my apologies, is retrograde until the 12th of January. So you may be a little bit antsy and anxious about how to proceed with these new goals. On the 23rd of December, 3 days before, 3 days after, there's a new one happening in Capricorn in your 8th house, squaring Jupiter and Aries in the 11th house. Okay, so I feel like this is a new beginning, my dear Geminis, in terms of pooling resources together with someone else, in terms of setting maybe a long-term goal together with a partner that involves finances or that involves shared assets. This could be a time when you realize that you need investment, maybe for your professional plans, and there could be a sense of, I don't know if I'm going to get it, I don't know if I'm going to be challenged for my approach to my professional plans. You may need to have some kind of like challenging conversations with investors or with the bank or with the people that you're getting like money and funds from as the new moon is happening in a square to Jupiter. Also, if you're starting off kind of like a new long-term project connected with investments around this time, I would keep in mind the fact that sometimes people can overpromise and underdeliver. So if you are investing, let's say in, I don't know, like a new startup, a new company around this time, because you may feel inspired to invest, I would keep in mind that there is a high degree of risk involved here. So be careful how much money you put behind this. And people could be, like the people involved in the project could be quite passionate about the philosophy behind it and so on. But again, there is a chance that they could overpromise and under-deliver. This is also a time to maybe sit down with your long-term romantic partner or business partner and discuss about the plans that you have together for the future financially. And you may need to act a little bit more cautiously than you are comfortable in acting at this time, just because your goals also seem to be dependent upon someone else's financial resources. So there's something to navigate here. You might also be quite impatient and the other person is like, no, slow down, hold your horses. Now, if you're a Cancer Sun or a Cancer rising, my lovely Cancerians, my fellow Cancerians. So what is happening with Jupiter coming back into Aries all the way until the middle of May? From the 20th of December until the middle of May, you have the opportunity to grow and to push yourselves beyond your comfort zone and to really take on new exciting opportunities work-wise, Cancerians. You might have been thinking about these opportunities, or they could have already been on your radar from the 10th of May until the 20th of October this year. But as Jupiter comes back into your 10th house of career, it may feel like, okay, this is it. Let's make this happen. Jupiter is saying, don't be afraid to take some risks. Don't be afraid to initiate something new. Don't be afraid to start offering a new type of service. Don't be afraid to apply for new jobs or to apply for a promotion. Maybe you're not going to get a positive response straight away just because Mars is currently retrograde. And it's going to be retrograde all the way until the 12th of January. So if you're feeling like you're ready to grasp that new career opportunity, but there's something holding you back, maybe there's some intrusive thoughts, some fears, maybe there's some people that are kind of like sabotaging you a little bit from behind the scenes, I would still have faith and say, okay, maybe not now, not yet, but until the middle of May, it is time to take my career to the next level. Generally, to take your career to the next level, there needs to be a level of dissatisfaction with, or a level of feeling like flat with where you are right now. I would take that as a sign that it's time to courageously challenge yourselves, Cancerians, and say, okay, what next? I can do better than this. You might be a little bit impatient and careful what you say and what you commit to and what you sign as you're a little bit impatient and as Mars is retrograde in Gemini, because after the retrograde of Mars is over in January on the 12th, you might feel like, oh, why did I rush into this? Why did I sign this? So I wouldn't rush into things. That's kind of like my thing, but also I wouldn't wait forever. I would be like, okay, let me read the ins and outs. Let me really study the documents properly. Let me make a plan. But also let me not say things or commit to things verbally that afterwards I'm going to have to take back. The new moon on the 23rd of December, 3 days before, 3 days after, is happening in Capricorn in your 7th house of relationships, Cancerians, and it's squaring Jupiter. Okay, so I feel like this new moon is bringing in a new beginning relationship-wise. Those of you who are single, you could enter into a committed relationship, or you could meet someone to enter into a committed relationship. The challenge could be maybe some sort of like conflict of interest, because maybe you're working with this person, or if you are saying yes to this person, you might be a little bit worried as to how it's going to come across to the outside world. There could be a little bit of worry around your reputation. I gotta say this, if you truly believe in the relationship and in the partnership with this person, and it could also be a business partnership, if you truly believe in it, I would not be afraid to kind of like fight off some trolls and some haters from the outside and really kind of like defend your choice to the outside world. This can definitely be a new beginning business-wise in terms of partnerships. Now, if you sign up for a partnership business-wise, Cancerians, I would keep in mind that there is a very high chance that there's a difference, there's a clash in terms of values and beliefs with this person. That doesn't mean that it's not workable. It is, because Jupiter is squaring the new moon, or the other way around. And squares are an aspect that require action. So it's workable, but there's probably going to be some friction because you have differing belief systems. Now, if you are a Leo sun or a Leo rising, my dear Leos, okay, so I'm excited for Jupiter going back into Aries for you until the middle of May. Why? That is because Aries is a sign that trines Leo. So you are probably going to be amongst the, you and Sagittarius folks, and those who have planets in Sagittarius, and also folks who have planets in, you could say also Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. You folks are probably going to enjoy the transit of Jupiter through Aries the most, because Aries is a sign that either like trines the other fire signs or sextiles the air signs. Oh, my apologies, with the exception of Libra, obviously, because Aries opposes Libra. So yeah, Gemini and Aquarius are going to enjoy this transit. a lot, along with Leos and also Sagittarius. So, my dear Leos, Jupiter transiting your ninth house all the way until the middle of May is going to bring you opportunities that may have already been on your radar from the 10th of May this year until the 20th of October. It's probably going to bring you opportunities to travel a lot, to connect with people from new cultures, different countries, different backgrounds. It's also going to bring you the opportunity to connect with mentors, people that really open up your horizons, broaden your horizons, people that help you look at the world differently, people that help you find meaning differently, and also people that make you feel very confident in acting on your beliefs, I dare say. You may feel inspired to study something like astrology or further your education in a spiritual field, but also in an academic field. This is a fabulous transit to sign up for a master's degree or for a PhD or for a university in general, to apply maybe for university kind of like scholarships or loans. It's also a fabulous transit to win in legal environments, but only after, I dare say, only after, if you ask me, Mars gets out of retrograde, which is going to be from the 12th of January onwards. So take the opportunity to travel, take the opportunity to study, to apply, to kind of like advance your education. But I'd recommend kind of like pausing a little bit or really considering things properly until the 12th of January at least, whilst Mars is retrograde. New moon, 23rd of December, 3 days before, 3 days after, is happening in your 6th house of day-to-day work and health, and it is squaring Jupiter in the 9th house. So I do believe that some of you Leos are going to start off a new job around this time, or you may decide to apply for a new job, maybe a job that involves foreign kind of like traveling long distance, working with people from abroad. You may welcome a new member on your team, maybe someone who comes from a different culture, and initially there could be a little bit of apprehension because maybe you don't know that much about their cultural background and about their worldviews, and there could be initially some tension on that front. It's workable. It's definitely workable. This could also be a time when you start a new health regimen. So maybe you start working out, or you start kind of like sticking to new rules in terms of your health, but you do feel a little bit, how should I say, challenged from a mental and philosophical perspective, because this new set of rules, health-wise, is basically kind of like pushing you, is giving you a nudge to think differently, from a different perspective about your health, I dare say. If you are starting a new job, or if you're applying for a new job, there could also be some delays when Mercury is retrograde from the 29th of December until the 18th, 19th of January. So don't stress out if you're not hearing from people as fast as you would like to hear. If you're a Virgo sun or a Virgo rising, my lovely Virgos, so what's happening with Jupiter coming back into Aries? Jupiter is going to be transiting your 8th house from the 20th of December until the middle of May. It has already done this from the 10th of May until the 20th of October in 2022. Jupiter transiting the 8th house generally brings growth and expansion and opportunity connected with other people's resources. So this would be a great time to apply for a mortgage, or apply for a loan, or apply for a bursary or a scholarship, or really consider whether it's worth kind of like starting to invest. Because the 8th house is also connected with investments. I would, however, not invest. Obviously, you are in charge of your money, so I'm not a financial advisor. You're completely responsible of what you do with your money. But I would not invest at least until Mars is out of retrograde in Gemini on the 12th of January. So after the 12th of January, moving forward, you may start kind of like I want to say, put more effort. You may start to put more effort also into taking an intimate relationship to a new level, or kind of like exploring a different facet of your intimate life together with a partner. For instance, you might start feeling more bold and courageous in asking for what matters, what is important to you in a relationship. Your partner could do the same thing, I dare say, Virgos, especially Virgo risings. Your partner, especially if you're in a relationship, business-wise and romantically, may also bring in more money and more resources all the way until the middle of May of next year. So you could both kind of like benefit from this. The new moon in Capricorn, 23rd of December, 3 days before, 3 days after, is happening in your 5th house of children and creative self-expression. It is squaring Jupiter and Aries in the 8th house. Some of you Virgos may experience a new romantic beginning, but one that challenges you to get out of your comfort zone when it comes to intimacy. One that challenges you maybe to approach the area of intimacy and also the area of being open and vulnerable to someone else from a different standpoint. The other person might be quite demanding and saying, no, I want to see, I want to know, I want to look inside your soul. And there could be some clashes here possibly, but the question is, are you in resistance to this because you're afraid, or are you in resistance to this because you want your boundaries to be respected? I think there's a fine line here. This could also be a new beginning for your children. If you have kids, for one of your children at least, maybe they, especially if you've got older kids, maybe they are starting to date and you could feel a little bit worried. It's like, oh wow, new risky chapter here. You may also feel inspired to commit to a new passion or hobby, but your partner, on the other hand, especially if you are in a relationship, could feel like, oh no, are you going to neglect me? Or I want more attention from you, or I want more of your time. So that could be something to navigate and to talk about with calm, at least until, I want to say, at least until Mercury gets out of retrograde. It's going to be retrograde from the 29th of December until the 18th, 19th of January. So all the way until the 19th of January, I believe, Virgos. My dear Libras, Libra suns and Libra risings. Jupiter is going back into Aries from the 20th of December until the middle of May of next year. This is very exciting for you when it comes to partnerships and relationships. It is a time to grow and expand and be open to doing new things, whatever those new things might be, together with a partner. For instance, moving in together. For instance, committing to, I want to say maybe a common goal together in some shape or form. You may also experience an opportunity to enter into new exciting business partnerships with Jupiter in this part of your chart until the middle of May. Jupiter is also the ruler of your 6th house of day-to-day work. It is a fabulous time if you want to take better care of your health, or if you want to work with someone one-to-one as an advisor. It's a fabulous time with Jupiter transiting your 7th house to get a coach, to get a new accountant, to get a new advisor, a new consultant. I'm loving this transit for it. For those of you who are single until the middle of May of next year, from the 20th of December, you may very well notice that there's lots of opportunities, because Jupiter is the planet of opportunity. You may notice that there's plenty of opportunities for you to say yes and to enter into a committed relationship. Existing relationships might evolve really quickly, as I said, including business partnerships. You might also feel like you're learning a new way to open up and to communicate with a partner, with Jupiter being also the ruler of your 3rd house, moving through the 7th house of relationships. So definite kind of like improvement, and maybe a feeling of having more courage in saying what you want and what you desire and what's important to you in a relationship. Now, when it comes to business partnerships, when it comes to maybe signing up for, I don't know, like one-to-one consultations with a therapist or someone like that, I would at least wait until Mars gets out of retrograde on the 12th of January, because you might change your mind after Mars gets out of retrograde, just putting it out there. Or it may feel like something is just not kind of like clicking into place. It may also feel in general, especially if you are committed to someone, it may feel like this is a very auspicious time for your partner. Like your partner is growing and evolving and becoming more than they were up until this point. But as I said, also for single people, it's a fabulous, fabulous transit. Jupiter is the yes planet. It might even bring someone from your past back to your attention, especially whilst Mars is still retrograde, basically until the 12th of January, I dare say. And you could kind of like feel courageous and bold enough to say yes to this person, which might not be a bad thing. Just remember that you might not know the entire kind of like set of parameters as to what a relationship with this person entails. I want to say at least until Mars gets out of retrograde. Now, the new moon in Capricorn, 23rd of December, happening in your 4th house of home, is squaring Jupiter and Aries in the 7th house. It feels like this is a new beginning home and living situation-wise that involves a partner. So this could be a time when you decide to move in with a partner, or a partner says, why don't you come and live with me? Or a partner says, why don't you move to a different city with me? Or why don't I come over to your city for us to be together? It may feel like you're asked to stretch yourself in terms of your home situation, your living situation, and whatever's going on with the partner. If a relationship has run its course around this time, which is also sometimes a possibility, I've noticed people who and please don't take this the wrong way. Remember that astrology does not predict exact material manifestation. I've noticed people that have been meaning to separate from their partners for a while. When Jupiter comes into their 7th house, they're like, okay, I'm done. Bye. I'm excited for the new opportunities out there. So for those who are kind of like on the brink of that, this new moon might be the moment when they decide, you know what, I'm going to move out and I'm going to find a different place to live. And I'm excited for a new chapter romantically for me because the old chapter is gone. Some Libras, especially Libra risings, may also hear news connected with a partner's parent around this time. So maybe something's kind of like changing in their parents' lives, and that also affects the relationship. Maybe you're going to be asked to, I don't know, like host the parent for some time or something along those lines. You may also realize, because a relationship is evolving very fast around this time, you may realize that you might need kind of like a bigger place to live, which is a possibility. For those of you who are single, you could also meet someone or connect with someone romantically through like a family gathering of some sorts. Or maybe you go and visit family and you kind of like connect with your old, like your colleague from school, and all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, great chemistry. So it could happen like that as well. Scorpios, Scorpio suns and Scorpio risings. Jupiter going back into Aries all the way from the 20th of December until the middle of May of 2023 makes me think that you are going to have many opportunities that I strongly recommend taking advantage of work-wise. So you are auspiciously aspected in starting a new job, applying for a new role, learning something new work-wise, developing your skills, taking on more responsibilities, obviously with more pay, but it's almost like it's time for you to stretch yourselves, Scorpios, work-wise. You might have already started to do this from the 10th of May until the end of October. It is time to continue that stretch and to say, okay, what else is there? I'm learning fast, I'm taking risks, I'm doing stuff that is out of my comfort zone. I would recommend doing that. Jupiter is also the ruler of your 2nd house of income. So if you're not taking risks, if you're not applying for new jobs, if you're not taking on more responsibilities, you could literally be like walking past the opportunity to make more money and to be better paid and to be more prosperous and to also increase your sense of self-worth. I'm not saying that money equals worth, but in astrology, the 2nd house, which is the house of income, is also the house of self-worth and self-esteem. So there is some sort of like correspondence and correlation. The gist of it is, if you want a new job, go for it. You may feel a little bit stressed about this whole thing and fearful, maybe whilst Mars is retrograde until the 12th of January, but afterwards I'm like full speed ahead. Also, if you've been meaning to move your body more, to be more physically active, to take better care of your health, my dear Scorpios, it is time to do so, and you are supported. Jupiter in Aries brings you stamina, passion, energy. You're supported in doing this from the 20th of December all the way until the middle of May of next year. 23rd of December, Scorpios, 3 days before, 3 days after, there's a new moon in Capricorn in your 3rd house, squaring Jupiter and Aries in the 6th house of work and day-to-day habits. It feels like you're starting to learn something new, maybe a new course, a new class, that is somehow linked with your day-to-day work. So maybe you need to learn a new skill or how to use a new tool, a different tool. This could also be the time when you start traveling to a new office location. Maybe you're starting to kind of like commute or something like that. Some of you might start to take driving classes, because you're going to need to do so, maybe to go into office, to travel, to work. This could also be the time when you learn, or when you feel like you need to start learning to communicate differently, maybe with those that you're working with. Maybe because you've gotten a promotion, maybe because now you're in a managerial role. So you need to kind of like adjust your style of communication and your language, and maybe even your nonverbal language, Scorpios. Now, if you are a Sagittarius sun or a Sagittarius rising, I'm super excited, Sagittarians. You're gonna love this transit. Dun, 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 dun. Jupiter in Aries, back into your 5th house, 20th of December until the middle of May of next year. This is a fun time, Sagittarius. This is such a fun time. It is a time to enjoy life. It is a time to be creative. It is a time to create. You're going to feel like your inspiration is going all the way up. Do not take this period of increased inspiration for granted. Jupiter transits a certain part of our chart once every 12 years. So it's not going to come back to this part of your chart for another 12 years. If you feel like writing something new, if you feel like initiating a creative project, if you feel like diving kind of like headfirst into a new passion, a new hobby, or a new creative project, I would do it. This is also a very auspicious time in general, for those of you who are trying to have kids, who are trying to like get pregnant. Maybe you're gonna get some mixed results or not get the result that you want with Mars being retrograde until the 12th of January. But after Mars gets out of retrograde, I'd say that if you are open to having children, this is a particularly supportive transit. Those of you who have kids already may be proud to see that your kids are kind of like entering a new chapter of their life. Maybe they're starting school, maybe they're starting to fall in love, maybe they're discovering something new that they're passionate about. This is a very kind of like exciting and fun and joyful time for you, Sagittarius. Careful not to overdo the fun and to end up fighting with people whilst Mars is retrograde until the 12th of January. Also, if you want to welcome love in your life, if that's something that you're open to, a very auspicious time. You could reconnect with someone romantically that you have been attracted to, or maybe they have been attracted to you whilst Mars is retrograde until the 12th of January. But overall, I'm liking this. Now, the new moon in Capricorn in your 2nd house of income on the 23rd of December, 3 days before, 3 days after, is squaring Jupiter in the 5th house. So this is a new beginning financially. You may need to kind of like set new goals financially. You may need to look at your budget differently in order to accommodate maybe a new creative project, in order to accommodate a new hobby or passion. So let's say you've discovered that you enjoy horse riding. You might need to look at your budget and say, okay, this is going to cost. How do I kind of like plan my expenses so that I can also invest in this passion of mine and this thing that makes me happy? You might also realize that you've got some new expenses to deal with coming from your kids around this time. You may feel, it's interesting because you might feel in this sort of like super like generous and like mood to enjoy life, but at the same time, you really have to look very closely at your budget and say, okay, yeah, I want to have fun and enjoy life, but I also have some goals financially, so I need to plan accordingly. If you are a Capricorn sun or a Capricorn rising, my lovelies, Jupiter is going back into, let's see, on the 20th of December, Capricorns, Jupiter is going back into your 4th house of home, all the way until the middle of May of next year. If you haven't moved already, or if you haven't grown or expanded in any shape or form the area of residence, real estate, or property, Capricorn risings, in the first part of this year, so 10th of May until the 20th of October, when Jupiter was transiting this part of your chart, this is a good time to ask yourselves, Capricorns, do I still feel at home where I am? And if the answer is no, maybe it is time to kind of like look to pastures new. And Jupiter transiting this part of your chart is supportive, is benefic when it comes to growing. So when it comes to moving to, I don't know, like a bigger house, or when it comes to renovating the house, when it comes to maybe also expanding the family, if you're looking to expand the family, it is very supportive and auspicious. You might also receive some kind of like very like positive news connected with home and family life. Because Jupiter is also the ruler of the 12th house. Maybe a news that feels somehow fated, or news that feel like divine timing has intervened all the way until the middle of May of next year. If you have siblings, then a sibling could have like a baby or get pregnant or get married throughout this period. It is kind of like a time to approach the relationships with the family differently, and maybe be more assertive, and maybe also kind of like take a different perspective to the area of home and family life, one that is less fearful and more courageous. I dare say some Capricorn risings may want to move abroad throughout this period, or experience living abroad for some time, and Jupiter is very supportive with that. 23rd of December, a new moon in your first house squaring Jupiter. My lovely Capricorns, 3 days before, 3 days after this new moon, it may feel like you need to kind of like step into a new role, step into a new position. You may need to take a good long look at who you've been up until this point in your life and ask yourselves, okay, now that I'm moving or growing my family or buying property, what does that say about my life direction? And what does that require me to act as? You may feel like there's some new responsibilities that are coming onto your plate. The good news is that you do well with responsibilities. So I wouldn't be stressed, even though you might feel a little bit the pressure of, oh wow, this is serious, I really got to get it together. But again, the good news is that most of the times, you have it together, which I love about Capricorns. I think that's my Capricorn moon talking. Aquarius, suns and Aquarius risings. My lovely Aquarians, Jupiter is going back on the 20th of December until the middle of May. It is going back into Aries in your 3rd house. Until the middle of May, you may feel this appetite, like voracious appetite to learn, to study, to develop new skills, new logical kind of like skills that you can apply in your day-to-day. You may sign up for classes, for courses. You may feel ready to buy a new car or to start driving finally. You may spend quite a bit of money, because Jupiter is the ruler of your 2nd house, on cars, short distance trips, classes and courses. But the thing is, if you do spend money on these, especially on education, I dare say, it may feel like you're gonna kind of like get paid back. So over time, you're going to be able to see an increase in your income as a result of investing in your education. There's probably going to be a lot of comings and goings, a lot of short distance traveling, a lot of commuting, maybe a lot of meeting new people, connecting with new people, being very active in the local community, maybe connecting also with neighbors more, all the way until the middle of May of next year. And those of you who have siblings may also see that siblings are going through a period of growth in their life, a period of growth that does involve some, I dare say, some risk taking. But if you don't take risks, how can you win? Ever. You may also feel excited about maybe like learning or teaching people in a group type of setup throughout this period. You might develop classes or courses, and the feedback is likely to be quite positive, especially after Mars gets out of retrograde on the 12th of January of next year. So if you feel like signing up to a course or a class, or writing a course or a class yourselves, my dear Aquarians, I would do so. Why not? 23rd of December, 3 days before, 3 days after, there's a new moon in your 12th house, squaring Jupiter in the 3rd house. This feels like a new beginning in terms of you addressing the topic of mental health differently. So you may start, for instance, committing to a new set of practices mental health-wise. You may start journaling, for instance. You may start therapy. You may start kind of like being a little bit more careful and cautious what you say and how you say it, and how you speak to people. You may start becoming more aware of your blind spots in communication and feel like, okay, I need to do something about this. Careful, 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 especially around the time of this new moon, not to rush on the road, not to speed on the road. And if you do have plans to travel, I would take extra kind of like time in making sure that you get to the airport on time, that you get to the train station on time, because there could be some unexpected kind of like issues that slow you down. Pisces suns and Pisces risings. What is going on with Jupiter going back into Aries from the 20th of December until the middle of May of next year? Well, I love this. Basically, Jupiter in Aries is supporting you to make more money, to increase your income. Yes, you might spend more money with Jupiter in the second house, but it may feel like you're more confident. You're becoming increasingly confident in your skills, in your worth, in your value, and it shows. So you may feel ready to kind of like take a big leap forward financially and say, listen, I know I can do better. You may start kind of like appreciating yourself more. So there's definitely a boost in confidence that I'm seeing with this transit. Careful not to just kind of like go a little bit overboard with the spending, especially as Mars is retrograde until the 12th of January, because you might look back and say, oh wow, why did I buy all of this stuff? I don't actually need it. So you might be feeling increasingly like generous and confident about like how much you can make and how much you can earn. And by the way, if right now you're feeling like, I'm not doing that well, this is very supportive. This transit of Jupiter is very supportive in you asking for a raise, I dare say. I would, however, wait at least until Mars gets out of retrograde on the 12th of January. So that's something to keep in mind. Jupiter is also the ruler of your 10th house of career. So there is likely to be in your life a new opportunity, but you're going to have to grab it because Jupiter in Aries requires initiative. It's not going to fall in your lap. There's likely to be a new opportunity for you to make more money in your job, in your career, in your profession, from, I want to say, the 20th of December all the way until the middle of May of next year. Stretch yourselves, Pisces, because you've got this, you deserve this, and you can do this. That's how I see it, at least. Now, the new moon happening in the 11th house on the 23rd of December in Capricorn, 3 days before, 3 days after, is squaring Jupiter and Aries in the second house of income. So I feel like this new moon is likely to bring a new collaboration, a new way of cooperating, maybe with a group of people, with a team, with a friend, to make more money, I dare say. You may start working with a new team of people professionally. It does feel exciting because you are growing financially, but I also believe that things could be moving a little bit too fast, and maybe you haven't yet talked out all the various kind of like details and the minutiae as to how your financial partnership is going to work out. That can lead to some disagreements and to some disputes. So even though I dare say that you're probably excited to get things off the ground quickly in collaborating on this like lucrative team project, I would not gloss over the rules, the structures, the systems that need to be put in place, the long-term approach to how this partnership is going to work, because otherwise it can blow up in your face. That's very possible. You might also feel inspired to join a new group of people around this time, Pisces, a new kind of like professional body, a group of people that has the same kind of like interests as you have professionally, and you may see how, so in comparison with these people, you may see how you've been underestimating yourself, Pisces, from an earnings perspective, from a self-worth perspective. So it could be quite the nudge that you need to move forward and to grab more, I want to say materially from life. Folks, I hope this update has been useful. I am looking forward to hearing all about it in the comments. Even if I don't respond to all the comments, I do read them all. So please let us know how this new moon feels for you, and also how you plan to make use of Jupiter transiting through Aries, because initiative and action is key with Jupiter in Aries. Nothing is going to fall in our laps. Remember that if you want to work with me, you can find me on my website, which is writteninthestars-astrology.com. I'm currently taking bookings for personal consultations. I'm taking bookings for the last week of January, folks. And if you want to follow me on Instagram for more regular daily updates, also updates from my life, my handle is @ruxunbelievable. Thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye.